Push-ups are a pretty cool exercise. We're able to hit our chest, triceps, build up strength, and it can lead to even cooler exercises in the future. A lot of people do push-ups wrong though, or they can't do push-ups or can't do a lot of them. So I'm gonna show you how to do the perfect push-up in this video to maximize gains, get that chest going, and show you the progressions for push-ups so you're able to do your first push-up, do more push-ups, or move on to the harder push-up progressions. Let's get into it. First, we need to talk about form. The quality of our push-ups is actually very important. Although having this perfect form does make the push-ups a lot harder, it also makes the movement a lot more effective and it helps us get stronger overall. Our push-up form can be broken down into 4 parts. Number 1 is body alignment. We want our body to be in a straight line. Many people tend to drop their hips, curve their back, or drop their head down. This can lead to a shorter range of motion and decrease the effectiveness of the exercise. And it kind of looks ugly. To avoid this, squeeze your core and your glutes. You don't have to be in a perfect straight line, but flatten out to get the most out of your push-ups. Next is hand placement. There is no perfect place to put your hands, as switching up the position we put our hands in can help us in different ways. It can target different muscles, and depending on what we're looking for or how we're trying to improve, it can be beneficial to put our hands in all various types of ways. For instance, if we have a wider grip with our hands, not too wide, but a wider grip, it targets our chest more. And the closer we bring our hands together, the more we're gonna activate the tricep. So switch up the hand placement and target your muscles in all types of ways, improving your overall strength. The only thing we wanna avoid when putting our hands in certain positions is elbow flare. This is commonly found when people try to use a hand position that's too wide. People tend to think the wider your hands go, the more it activates your chest, but that's not necessarily true. In fact, it's kind of the opposite and it puts us at risk for injury. So if you're just doing normal push-ups, try not to bring your hands wider than slightly wider than shoulder width. I don't know if that made sense. Range of motion. When performing a perfect push-up, we need to go all the way up and all the way down. Doing half rep push-ups aren't optimal, and although you can do way more reps, it doesn't really matter because quantity isn't better than quality in the push-up realm. Working a small range of motion only targets a portion of the chest and triceps. Get that full range of motion going so you're strong throughout the entire movement. Scapular retraction. Pull your shoulders back, and as you go down for your rep, pretend you're squeezing a pencil between your shoulder blades. By putting our back into a locked position, it adds stability, betters our pushing strength, and allows us to put more load on the muscles we're trying to target. Form is important. Don't overlook it. Do your push-ups right, and although it might be a little bit more difficult, you'll progress way faster. Okay, so now our form's perfect, but how do we progress? How do we get more reps? How do we get our first rep? How do we go to the harder progressions? Well, I'm going to show you right now. The key is to focus on what you can do. So throughout all these progressions I'm going to show you, you're going to want to choose the progression that challenges you the most, that you can also do with good form. Then you're going to practice this variation and the ones below it until you've built up the strength to move on to the harder progressions. And this is what makes working out so cool, is that like the sky's the limit and there's always something new for you to learn, especially when it comes to the push-up because there's so many variations and they get like really difficult. So just focus on what you can do, build up your strength until you can move on to the next one, and then just repeat, keep going. Let's break it down though. First one is wall push-ups. For this one, you just go up against the wall and you start doing push-ups up against it. You know, it's pretty easy, but everyone has to start somewhere. So if you're in this spot, that's okay. Just build up the strength until you can do incline push-ups. Incline push-ups is a great exercise because it allows you to practice the form at a little bit easier of a level. And the lower you go, the harder it is. This brings us to progression number 3, which would be slightly inclined push-ups. Yeah, it's literally the same thing, except for it's at a little bit lower of a level, which increases the difficulty. So it is going to be a little bit harder. And if you're trying to build up your push-ups, just kind of lower that level until you're able to get to the ground. But before we get to doing actual push-ups, we can do one more progression, which is kneeling push-ups. These ones kind of get a bad rap, but it's a good exercise to build up strength. So if you want to do that one, throw it on in there. The next level is push-ups, and if you still want to get more reps on your push-ups, you can always work those earlier progressions or work the negative of the movement. You know, focusing on the eccentric part of the movement is going to help you in the same way. But once you can build up to do push-ups, you know, just keep repping them out and eventually you'll be able to do more and just kind of keep working on it. Next up is decline push-ups. Changing the levels again, except for we're going even lower. And this one targets more of the upper chest and it's also a little bit more difficult. You still want to keep good form in this one, even though you're starting to go upside down. But this is a great exercise that you can add to your routine. Next up is archer push-ups. I find these ones to be kind of difficult. Maybe I just haven't worked them enough, but it's a pretty tough exercise as you're basically pushing yourself up with one hand and you just kind of rock side to side like that, keeping the arm that you're not using straight and putting emphasis on one arm. These ones also just kind of look cool in my opinion. Makes me feel like Spider-Man. Next up is explosive push-ups. This one's great for training your explosive power and it can lead to things like clapping push-ups or some other fancy stuff that people do. And over time, as you work this one, you'll notice that you'll be able to go higher and higher, which is pretty cool. Next up is pseudo planche push-ups. you want your hands to be as close to your waist as possible. The placement of your hands in this one makes it so you have to push up more weight. I've been working on this one a little bit and I found that it was way harder than regular push-ups. And even if your form's not perfect for this one at first, that's okay. Just try to get your hands closer and closer to your waist, and your form will get better over time as you get stronger. Now we're up to the one arm push-up. I don't really train this one. It is pretty cool because you're literally pushing yourself up with one arm. So just another thing we can do with push-ups if you're interested. And there's a few more that come after this as for progressions, but I just wanted to show you the last step because it's literally my dream, and it's planche push-ups. I want to do it so bad, not even close. I think this exercise is literally so cool. It literally looks like you're floating because you technically are, you're just on your hands. And then you start doing push-ups, like what? And I don't even know if it's possible or whatever, but we don't focus on that. Gotta focus on what we can control, what we can do. I know I can do these progressions, so I'm just gonna work at these progressions, get stronger and stronger, and hopefully one day I can make it up to that level. And if I don't, I'll still have gotten stronger, and that's awesome. And I think it's really great to have a goal that's super far out there, because just by having that goal that's way out there that you have to chase, you're gonna become such a better person. Yeah, so just focus on what you can do. There's some regressions for you, and let me know in the comments where you're at for your push-ups. I'd love to know whether you're starting to learn your first push-up or you're starting to do some cool progressions. But have a great day. Peace.